Welcome back to Love&I, the show that talks about our personal experiences on love and dating, relationship, marriage, all the things in between, and the favorite of all, sex.
We give very general advice based on our personal experience, and I think about some of the things we talk about in certain episodes, and it's very subjective. That's the fun part about doing this show is I get to bounce things off you, you get to bounce things off of me, and
and we don't know much of anything really, so I find it interesting. People ask me, so how do you know so much about relationships that you have a podcast? And I'm like, I'm not doing a podcast because I know everything. I'm doing the podcast because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about it. I want to learn. I want to see, how our experiences are affecting us, what we're learning from all of our experiences, and what can we share with others that is raw, that is true.
And one thing Lori has a lot of experience with is breakups.
I do. But who doesn't?
Yeah, I do too.
Who doesn't? Some are good. Well, there are some good breakups actually. But some are just so shitty that it takes such a long time to get through it. And then it takes you even longer time to learn what happened and a longer time to accept it and not make the same mistakes again. So on this episode, I would really like to talk about bleeding hearts.
Yeah, and it's funny because I get this question every once in a while. Can you remain friends with your ex? Like after you break up, is it okay to remain friends? And I am of the opinion that it is a terrible idea. And one of the two typically has feelings, and then down the road when you start dating again, it creates issues. In two experiences that I've been in, I have broken up with someone, we remained friends, and we continued to have sex. And it just, of course, when you have sex, sometimes feelings get involved, and so that was it.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, and this was one of the memories that have always stuck with me, but there was just one night where we were going back and forth, and I just came out and said, look, I just use you for sex, and that's it. And it was very harsh. And in the moment,
oh, God.
It was bad. And we were arguing about something.
Oh, you were arguing about stuff? So you kind of like, hold on a second. I don't have to do this shit. I'm only using you for sex.
Yeah, I think that was...
What did you get back?
I think I ended up leaving soon after that. I think I only saw her one more time, and it was after she had... whenever I saw her, I think she tried to get back at me about sleeping with someone that was twice her age or something.
And you didn't care?
I cared.
You did? Even though, and this is interesting, like, you're sleeping with somebody, and I guess I'm assuming sex is so good.
It was okay. It just, at the time of my life, I didn't have a lot of options available to me.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was drowning in women.
And it wasn't like you were like really drawn to her. It's just that you didn't really have other options.
The problem with me, and this is what got me in trouble in my past, is I am into really big booties. And so it's like a drug to me.
Okay.
And so it's hard for me to detach.
I understand.
It's
okay. Well, we all have those things. Like, I'm not going to say what I'm into. But yes, it's a fucking deal breaker. And there are certain things we like. And even if we don't really like the person or what they have to offer, or we're not very compatible, there are just some things that, spending time with them or sex with them, it's good.
Yeah, and there's been times where I stayed in relationships longer than I wanted to just because the sex was great. It just was the second best sex of my life. And so I stuck around for no reason. But that wasn't this girl. The other girl I had an experience with that really sticks out to me is we had broke up and then we remained friends. But it was clear that she was still very into me. And this was probably like peak sexy me too. I was like charming. Everyone knew me. I was like the big guy. So like I was the guy to date. And so me and this girl broke up. And in the meantime, there was other women that were talking to me, and she would still get super jealous. She would pull me to the side and be like, hey, I saw you talking to this person. And I would always try and be very polite, but it got to the point where I was just like, look, we're not dating anymore. I can do whatever I want.
So by dating anymore, you mean like you're not sleeping together anymore?
Yeah, so this girl, I didn't have sex with her after we broke up.
Okay. But you were still friends. You're still hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
We were in the same circles.
When you're in the same circle is difficult.
I mean, it was, we saw each other probably 3 times a week.
That's a lot.
It is.
Like,
yes.
that's like you almost more than you'd see somebody you're in a relationship with.
No, it was an interesting, I mean.
And you didn't have sex with her?
After we broke up, I didn't, no.
And you still saw her 3 times a week?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't want to give too much details because it would tell who it is, but it just...
No, like what made you, like, the way that you felt about it, or what pushed you to spend your time?
I was just much more mature at the time, and so while I would have been okay with having sex with her, I knew that in her heart, she was trying to keep me around, and the last few times, I think she could tell that I was wanting to get out of it, so she went above and beyond. So
it was her attempt to save the relationship or what you guys had, and
I didn't want to put any false hope out there.
But then again, you were put in false hope because you were still hanging around.
But the thing
3 times a week.
The problem was what we were a part of an organization, and so we were organizing this event. And
so it was more of social, like being around each other for social reasons or professional reasons, but not like you made time and you made plans to hang out together.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, there are many people that date people in the office, at work, or whatever, and you just happen to have a good vibe, when you work with them, and they're good people.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to be an asshole about it. So
it's just sometimes it's not the person,
Yeah.
And that's what happens is that whenever I've broken up with my fair share of people. I've been broken up with a fair share.
So would you say that you broke up with people more, or you kind of like, sometimes, especially guys, they have a hard time breaking up. So they kind of wait around and, of course they change their behavior to get the other person to the point that they just can't take it anymore. So they break up with them. Have you ever done that?
I think I did more breaking up than I have been broken up with.
Okay. Was that because they just did not take the clue, or?
I think it was because I knew they were not the right person. So, and this goes back to, like, I harp on it all the time. It's just like being honest.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I mean, there's been a couple of times where I've stayed longer than I should have. Like, we were part of an organization together, trying to get stuff together. The sex was great, but as long as I can I always try and keep a clear mind. And so I'm always just upfront. When I notice that it's not going to work, I try and just be like, hey, look, it's not going to happen. And that's why, and frankly, I'm a catch. And I know that sounds cocky.
No, it's not. It's knowing. I mean,
you gotta know what you
to
bring
a certain
to the table.
extent, we know who we are, and we know, and that's not because we have a lot of options. Because sometimes when you have a lot of options, it doesn't necessarily translate into having the right options.
Yeah.
You can just have people that like you for whatever reason, but doesn't mean they're good for you.
Yeah.
But you do know what is bad for you. And you do know that there are certain standards, there are certain things that you have set for yourself that you expect the other person to have in order for you to see them in that light, to have a relationship with them.
100%.
And when you're not treated the way that you want to be treated, Like, you know how that feels, even if you're sticking around for different reasons, which sometimes it's like, sometimes you get comfortable. And you know that you deserve more, but you just get into that routine, into that comfort. And I think we all do it at some point, where breaking up is just, you kind of postpone it. You're like, yeah, once I'm done with this project, once I'm done with, yeah, I'm going to have to tell them, yeah, I have to let this go. And you kind of like drag. And I've done that. Like, I broke up 2 years later than I should have broken up. 2 years!
Long time.
But we lived together. And not just lived together, we had invested together in, house and all that stuff. So it was a little, yeah.
Ouch.
No, it's not that I didn't care about the person. I did care about the person.
No, I'm saying that I know you must
but
have
it
cared about
sucked.
the person.
Like, I cared about the person, but deep down I knew this is not my person. This is not somebody that I'm going to be with. I just have to find the right time to pull the plug. And sometimes it becomes selfish. It was like the right time for me to pull the plug, not the right time for that person. Like, I didn't even consider, how he would feel because I was done. It was just a matter of time on when I was ready and I had, my ducks in a row in order for me to make the cut and split.
Well, and to me, so it wasn't until I did a lot of self-searching and self-learning and understanding myself. Before I did that, people would break up with me. But once you get to the point to where you're comfortable with who you are, you know what you're looking for, you can start doing the breaking up. Because like you said, you want someone that matches you.
Yeah.
Like me, I am very social.
Yeah.
And so there's been times in my life where I dated people where they feel like they have to do everything with me. And I always make it very clear, no matter who I'm with, I'm just like, look, I'm very social. I do a lot. If that bothers you, whether I'm going out by myself or you're coming out with me all the time, I'm not the person with you. And I could tell that bothered some people, and I was just like, that's not me. Or, my family's a lot to handle. Like, they joke about, they have they joke about everything.
Yeah.
And so you have to be easygoing and thick-skinned. So that was another thing, is I had dated people where they just didn't either have the self-confidence or just didn't have that carefree, personality. And like you said, you have to find someone that, to me, what it boils down to, and this is what I was looking for, whoever I was going to be with, it was never something that they were going to take something away from me. Everything that my significant other provided was in addition to what I was doing. So when people talk about complimenting, they have to be careful of, is the person you're with, is it added? Because you don't want to end up with someone that's taking stuff away that you like and enjoy.
I agree 100%, but to that add-in point, I think sometimes it's confused because when they add on both sides. They add to your enjoyment of life, of course, enhance it, but they also add to your responsibilities. I have gone out. I have met people that would say that they are so ready for a relationship and they knew exactly what they wanted. They knew exactly the kind of person they wanted, the qualities, the connection, everything. Then when it came down to doing the relationship, they just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, in theory, they were like, yeah, this is what I want. But then in practice, they didn't change they would refuse to change their day-to-day routine. So when you say they need to add to your life, yes, I need to add to meaning to complement, to make it more enjoyable. So what are the things that we want from a partner? I mean, like, to just break it down in like the simplest terms. Why do we need a partner? I mean, we're very self-sufficient on a lot of things. But it's that emotional connection. Talking to somebody you trust. Talking to somebody who's smart, can give you good advice. Wants the best for you. You have great sex with, and you can share experiences with, right?
Yeah.
And those are like the main things. And then, of course, you want to get married, have a family. That's the next step. But being in a relationship, those are our basic needs that we need fulfilled. So if we're with somebody that is not okay with us being social, having a life outside of the relationship that's taken away from me.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And when I say like in addition to, I mean like things you can't live without. So I'll give you a quick example. So my wife is very anal about the way that she washes clothes.
Yeah.
And so before when I washed clothes, I was very consistent on it. I would keep my clothes separated. Like the way that I did laundry was different, but she is very adamant about the way she does it.
Right.
So to me, I mean, sure, would I want to do it my way, but I don't care enough to where I'm going to do it to bother her. So it's not like a core thing, but like you said, the core things is hanging out and doing all this stuff. And, and kind of in addition to that, one thing that has always dropped most people I've been with crazy is I don't ever get jealous. I just, like, I am so full of myself, I guess is the best way to put it, that I feel like if someone's going to cheat on me or do something to me, they're stupid because they're losing the best thing that they're going to have, which is me.
Yeah, I can understand that. No, it's not cocky. No, I think it's a self-regulating mentality, honestly, because what do we get out of stressing out? Not a damn thing. If I'm just going out there and I'm going with the mindset of, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen. It's not something I deserve. Not, I didn't do anything to get this. But at the same time, not being jealous, I don't think it's as much of a choice. So if I go out with my partner, we go to a bar or whatever, a show, and then I see that I go to the bathroom, and then when I come back, I see that he's chatting, with the woman, or they're like looking at phones or exchanging numbers or something. You wouldn't be jealous? And it's not like jealous because that person better than me. Not that type of jealousy. But what the fuck is going on?
For someone to put themselves in that situation, that they've got to be done. Like, I would never expect my spouse to see that. And I will say,
there are many. I mean, this is like very base, like very stupid. Okay, it's one of those stupid things. But as I said before, women's intuition, it's on point. So even when you're talking to somebody, the way that you're looking at them, what you're saying, your body language.
Yes.
Dude, I know you're flirting.
And
I know you don't have to do anything else.
And and I will admit, so I'm a very outgoing, extroverted person. So I'm very loud.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and when you're loud and rambunctious and having a good time and joking around, it can come across as flirty.
No.
Okay.
If the person really knows you, if your partner knows your personality, and I hope that they're attracted to that personality. Because if they're not attracted to that personality, they'll always find something to bother them. Like, I know I'm extroverted. I want to be with somebody that understands that I'm very social, extroverted. I'll talk a lot of shit. I'll say personal stuff on here. But I'm not flirtatious when it comes to the point of giving hopes to somebody.
And that's what you have to do, is make sure you make it very clear up front. Like this past weekend, we had a birthday party, and we were at a pool, and so there were women in bikinis. And so whenever we had a lot of food, so I was walking up and saying, "Hey, it's my wife's birthday. If you would like food or drinks," just making it very clear up front. Like, hey,
oh, you were. You kept saying it over and over.
I am married. I'm happy, because if you were typically, at least in my past, when you walk up to women in bikinis in a pool setting or something like that. I mean, I did it when I was younger. Like, you would try and chit chat, get to know them, take them out or whatever.
Yeah, so, I mean, it depends on your intention.
And that's why I'm very extroverted, but I've also had to realize, there are certain things perceived as flirting. So you just have to, I've learned to be very careful.
So if you saw your wife or your girlfriend at a time do the same with somebody, like be flirtatious, you know how that looks. You wouldn't feel jealous at all. Not jealous, but it wouldn't bother you. Like, you wouldn't be like, wait, was she flirting with somebody? Like, how would that make you feel?
I mean, so if I were to walk up to that, let's just say that they were still chit-chat whenever I walked up, and it got weird when I walked up, then it would probably...
What if you're standing there the entire time?
if I can hear the conversation and I can tell it's getting weird, and
Yeah, like if he just does like he throws a compliment at her and she's like, oh,
I mean,
thank you.
as long as it's not, and again, it's like you said, it's the way that she reacts to it. I mean, if she's going to react to it in a way that I'm like,
what had just happened?
yeah,
Yeah.
But that's part of why I'm married the person I'm with, because I know I never have to worry about that. But there were times in the past where I can think of one person in particular where she would get compliments and stuff like that, but she had just such bad self-confidence that anytime she got compliments, she was just like, wow, this person likes me, I'm gonna flip back. And that was when I realized, like, I can't be with someone that has low self-confidence.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is them getting
a little
validation,
and
Like, I've been there. I'm in the one with low self-confidence where I needed the validation.
Oh, we all been there. Yeah.
And so, when it comes to breakups, that's why I think it's hard. It's very difficult, at least in my experience with breakup. I don't talk to any of my exes, but whenever you break up with someone, it's difficult to where you're on that same level and you can have a mature conversation like, hey, this isn't for me, we can't do this anymore. And then you both can stay on that level and just maintain friendship. It's hard because one person likes one more than the other. One probably wants a relationship more than another.
Likes or
wants
selfishness.
Yeah.
Selfishness or fear of losing. Like a lot of underlying, issues and feelings that somebody has.
I mean, and going back to the...
But then, all right, so what we deal with every day, we don't deal with that brutal honesty. And it's sad and it's heartbreaking that nobody has that courage to just look at the other partner and say, look, this is how I feel. These are the things that I just can't do anymore. This is, when you do this makes me feel like that. When you do that makes me feel it's just not working anymore. And instead of that...
real quick on that, though, you have to be careful when you bring that up. Because bringing those kind of conversations up when you're both arguing... Not
arguing. See, that's the thing. Like, and you know what's funny?
When you're not arguing.
You know what's funny? When people fight, when they're arguing, they're not really breaking up. How many times would you say that you fully ended a relationship while you were fighting?
One time.
In the middle of a fight.
One time.
And how long did that last? Did you see each other again the next day and hash things out?
I mean, I tried after that, but it didn't work.
But it didn't work. Okay. No. So what the fuck did you do?
It's long distance.
Oh, okay. Well, there are certain things, but usually when couples are fighting, they're both trying to fix something. Fights are a sign of still there's passion between the two people. So there's still a chance of reconciling and fixing, whatever's going on. When it comes to the point that you're like trying to avoid each other and you're like super calm because nothing gets to you anymore, like you're like done and dead on the inside, but you want to sit down because you still have respect for them.
Yeah.
And that's when the conversation has to be very open and upfront. This is where I'm at.
So, and I guess kind of keeping those conversations within the realm of breaking up, what are certain things that are considered cheating to women that they would discuss with their guys? Because I've been in relationships where like looking at other women was considered cheating.
No.
If you saw your guy checking out other women.
Well, my guy, if he doesn't, not checking out. All right. See, you use two different words. Looking at a woman and checking out a woman are two different things.
Okay, when I say looking, I mean more like...
we are intuitive. We're very intuitive, but we're not stupid. We can make the difference of what feels wrong to us and what's okay. If we overreact, it's because you've done it a few times and we told you and you still didn't fix it. So now we react to the simplest thing just to keep you in check. But we know when something is just... I mean, if the guy that I'm with, if he didn't look at a beautiful woman walking next to us, I'm going to wonder if he's gay.
Okay.
Because it's just human nature. I would look at a guy that is walking in front of me, not like stare at the guy. I would not do the, but I would acknowledge this person that just walked by. I'm not going to do the up and down out of respect for my partner, of course, but it's normal. Like, why is it okay to talk about actors, how hot they are? Why is it okay?
Okay, so is it okay if your guy watches porn then?
But is it okay? Now you're asking me these questions. You're asking me. For me, as a person, as a girlfriend, I would not have an issue if he watches porn, not on a daily basis, of course, or if porn is affecting our sex life. But if he's watching, let's say, I'm out with my friends, or he's, on a business trip, or I'm on a business, or whatever it is, he has his alone time and he watches, so what? What happens? Like, that's not cheating. I wouldn't consider it cheating. Now, if he's addicted to it and that's all he does every minute that he finds, and he's not, that's really impacting our sex life, then yeah, I would see it not as cheating, but I would see that you're not, investing in the right places.
Interesting.
I mean, I've been in my share of relationships where there was porn involved and there was not porn involved at all, And I honestly never believed the guys that said, I don't watch porn. Like, that was, for me, it was one of those like, I just never believed that a guy would never watch porn. Because I think porn was made for men. I don't think it was made for women. Even though there are many women that watch porn, I was never into it.
Why do you think it wasn't made for women? Or certain, not, of course
because not. Men are visual. Men are visual, so it's easier for them.
Women
and we've had
visual?
this conversation before when we did the sex talk.
I know, but...
Women are not women will not get turned off by watching. I mean, they would like it, like it could turn them on, but it's not something like they have to have in order to...
And I guess that's why I'm bringing it up, is because for men it is very visual. So that's why, like, watching porn, that's a visual act.
Right. But you're not watching the guy in the porn, right?
I mean...
You're watching the woman.
But why does that make it better?
It does make it, because you're not... That's the thing, like... As a guy, you're more into watching a woman have sex, and you're kind of like, maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but kind of you're placing yourself there in that scenario.
But does not make it worse?
For who?
For like, so if a guy is putting himself in the position of the guy in the video.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The whole point of watching porn is to have an orgasm, right?
Okay, so before we had talked about how you fantasize during sex.
Yeah. Is that cheating?
So, I guess, is fantasizing during sex similar to watching porn? Or are those two different things?
All right. Well, okay. So me and you are married, and you come home from work, and I'm watching porn. How does that make you feel? I'm laying in the couch. Hey, honey, how you doing? Nothing. I'm just watching porn, masturbating. And then we are in bed or whatever, and my mind is thinking we're somewhere in a castle in Ireland. That doesn't do shit to you. It just makes me in a better mood, and we're good. It's not, it's different. So yeah, I think fantasizing is way better than watching porn.
I mean, I do feel like there's a difference between like fantasizing with your partner as opposed to like watching a completely different person.
It's awkward. I have watched porn once with my boyfriend. It was awkward.
It is awkward.
Because I'm one of those people that talks.
You talk?
I talk when I watch everything, like movies or something. Like I always have to throw a comment or something there.
I mean,
I'm one of those. I go to the movie theater, I'm like, oh, like that's what I do.
Well, I agree. Like whenever
so watching porn is like
like
complete silence.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like so awkward because you're like looking at each other weirdly, and
do I do this to you?
But then you want to see like does that particular thing excite them? So you're kind of like looking at them like, he's face changing or something. And it's weird because it's not something together, it's not like you're exciting each other. It's like you're allowing others to dictate your steps, your, like what you do, your activity. And it's not very authentic. So it's awkward. I personally didn't like it. So I tried it. I didn't like it. I'm not going to do it. It didn't do anything for me. I hope it did for him. But then, no, it's not the same as fantasizing because you could fantasize at work. And that's your own personal thing. And we're not, and thank God that our minds, whatever we have, it's not written in our foreheads, Sometimes we could think of exes. Sometimes we could think of certain experiences that we had good emotions. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it's okay, like in any of this. I never say this is okay, this is not. I'm saying how people are in real life, everyday life, things we hear. And if we're truly honest with ourselves and the others, I don't think that there's one person in the room that has not thought of a sexual experience that they had at some point in their life, even if they are with somebody, something that crossed their mind with zero intention. They're perfectly happy where they are. It's like good moments in your life. What are we supposed to erase everything?
Well, going off that, one of the craziest things I can remember, well, it's happened several times, is where, I don't know why guys do this, but I'll use this one time in particular because it led to a breakup. This guy was showing his other guy friends photos of the girl he was with, like naked photos, showing it to his guy friends, like, hey, check this out. It got back to the girlfriend. She obviously broke up with him because one of the guys there was just like, yeah, this is shitty. But it's crazy.
He was showing his friends her photos and they were together. See, guys are so stupid sometimes. Why?
I don't.
Why?
I'll never understand that. I'll never get it.
I think, but I want to know what you think. Is that something like, look what I got?
100%.
Like, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
Look at what I got.
The first time I remember it happening was in high school. And, I mean...
Yeah, that's score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, he was showing... It was a little flip phone. Like an awful photo.
Nokias.
And he was showing it to all of the guys because she had a nice rack or whatever. And so he was, like, super proud of sleeping with her. And it was just like... I mean, I get it, but...
He was showing his new car.
Yeah. I mean... Still, it just has always been weird to me. But it's. I'm not saying it's prevalent, but it happens more often than I would think it would.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, that's number one reason I never send nudes to anybody.
Yeah.
It's. I don't want you to have access to it, and I don't want anybody else that you know to have access to it, because it's. For me, it's like if you miss me, you know where I am. You don't have to look at anything else.
But I will say it is nice to have something every once in a while to look at and be like,
no.
This is nice.
No. Do chat. Do FaceTime.
But you can't, like, do a FaceTime at work while you're sitting on the toilet and be like, hey, babe, show me some boob.
But you're coming home. Like, I mean, I understand. I mean, it's different. You're married, couples, you want to share, those sexy things with them because... I mean, there's still a chance that, it could end up somewhere else. Or, they have it open and all of a sudden somebody else grabs their phone. Like, who knows? There's always that risk. But when you are not in a serious relationship and you're just dating or you are just started a relationship with somebody, I just can't trust that, Yes, it's sexy, but I'm sexy. And you can see me anytime you want. So.
And I think, and this is going to get super personal, but I think that's some of the problems that, at least that I had growing up, is it's just so prevalent with, stuff being posted on social media, availability of porn, like, I mean, frankly, when I was dating, sometimes before I even met people, they were sending me stuff, like just chit chatting back and forth. I mean, it's just so easy to access. And there was a point in my life where I lost a lot of weight, started working out, started eating healthy, and I was mildly attractive. And so I was getting more attention from women. And I slept around a little bit, and I had cheated before, and so I got to the point where I thought, am I addicted to sex? And so I started going to they have Sexaholics Anonymous, which is a great program.
You did?
Yes. And
good for you.
Yeah, because I know it sounds stupid.
It's not stupid. That's self-awareness. Like, you really were wondering if this was something healthy for you or if it was unhealthy, and you actually did something about it. That's amazing. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I went for a little while, and I learned a lot. It was a great experience, but at the end of the day, and it's hard when you think about it, because it kind of comes down to how do you define addiction. When I was younger, when I saw someone hot, I would always think to myself, wow, I'd really like to get with that.
Those are called hormones.
And that's the thing.
It's not addiction.
Yeah.
Being young, wanting to experience, your feelings are all over the place. Like your hormones, I remember actually myself as a teenager having such strong feelings about everything. Like strong emotions, the crying, the loving, the sex drive, the energy, everything, playing, sports. It's just all over the place. I mean, that's what your body's doing. And that's the time when you experience all those things. But what happens when you are in a serious relationship or you're married, and every woman that you see, you just have to have them? That would be a form of addiction for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be attracted to somebody because we always meet people that they're attractive or we like their personality or whatever, but we don't think of sleeping with them all the time, or reaching out to them, flirting, initiating all that. And for me, it has always been that cheating starts the moment that you decide to approach somebody in any form. If you want to approach them just to say hi, and you're like, oh, I'm innocent, I'm just gonna have a coffee, ask them for a coffee. The moment that you make that decision, you have parted from where you are, and you made a decision to pursue something. It could lead to sex, it may not lead to sex, but you are pursuing something that is outside of your commitment. So that's cheating.
Yeah.
Anyway, you compliment a woman, you have coffee at the same time in the office when they have coffee because you want to be around them. And you're like, no, I don't feel like that about them. But somehow you find yourself seeking them and pursuing them. And yeah, you've already disconnected from.
And I think that's what leads to a lot of breakups is whenever you're younger, your hormones are going, you're interested in seeing, you see something new and you're like, wow, this is really great. But then you go partake in it and then you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that with someone very good,
So is it because, do you feel guilty because you're hurting the person you're with, or because you're losing the person you're with?
At the time, it was because I used to think I was this really good guy. Like I was a high, upstanding person. And so I felt like I would make a good decision. Like I would never make a bad decision.
Okay.
So for me to depart from that as drastically as I did, because if you cheat on someone, that's the ultimate form of disrespect. That's like the ultimate form of betrayal. So you have to to make that decision, you can't go back from it.
No.
And so whenever I did that, I was just like, wow, it's weird that I did that. Is something wrong with me? And I'm one of those people where if I feel like, I went to therapy, I went to church, I went to meetings, I I put a lot. I read books. There's a lot of great literature out there about it, and so I got to understand it. I got to understand. Am I just a young guy? Is this a legitimate issue? And once I took time to figure that out, I understood that. And we talked about this before. It's just communicating with people up front, just saying, "Hey, look, I don't know if I'm gonna for sure be in a relationship. I'm here just to hang out, and we might end up breaking up." And that's what happened a few times. I was just like, "I don't like this person. I'm gonna break it off before I do something stupid."
Right. So how many times did you cheat on your partner before you started judging yourself for it?
I'm trying to remember when I did it. I don't think it was the first time, sadly.
Okay. So it's not like the first time that happened, you automatically were like, whoa, hold on, something is wrong with me, because you saw yourself repeating the same thing. And I mean, there's just so many theories on that. Like, you cheat because you're unhappy. Cheating is not cause, it's a symptom.
Well,
you name, like, there are just so many things. But when it comes down to it, it fucking sucks.
Well, here's one of the reasons why I was like, what's wrong with me? It's the reason I did it was because the person I was with wasn't having sex as often as I thought we should. And I was just like, I'm going to do my girlfriend a favor by doing it with someone else so she doesn't have to deal with it.
A lot of guys think like that. A lot of women think like that.
Really?
It's scary. Women that are in long-term relationships, they don't want to have sex with their husbands. And they think, well, if he wants to do it with somebody else, that's fine with me because I don't have the energy for him. Honestly. And I'm like, what did you just say?
Wait, some women are okay with that?
It's not like he did it and they were okay with it. No. But that's how they talk about it. Like, that's the thought that, oh, well, if he wants to cheat, I don't have the energy for it, so it's better for me because I'm too tired to deal with him. And once the guy does it, then I don't know, maybe just something switches in the woman and they get like, what the hell were you doing? But they actually say it. I mean, if you say that to your partner, you might think that you're being funny or, that you're giving him, I don't give a shit about you. I'm not jealous. I don't care. But no, what you're saying is that you would rather have this person sleep with somebody else than be with you. Like, that is so fucked up. Like, if my partner would say that to me, I'd be like, okay, I guess this is it then. I would have to be with other people because you don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's for me, it's really messed up to think like that. And I know that your girlfriend was not as sexual as you were. So you figured, why bother her? I can bother somebody else that wants me.
and now that I'm thinking about it, it was about, because the first time I was just like, okay, I got this out of my system, I'm good to go. But then I started falling into a rhythm of it. And I think it was probably the second or third time where I was like, this is.
Were you cheating on the same person?
Yeah.
Multiple times?
Yeah.
It's never once.
Yeah.
Once that door is open, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to close it. And
because you just you don't feel the consequences. It's like once you get away with it once, after that you can get away with it, and then the person, you're still with the person, so they haven't left, so you still have that cushion.
Yeah.
Which gives you the best of all worlds. You can have sex with other people and there's still this person here. That happens every single day.
And
sadly,
during that time though, and I know most guys aren't like this, but I was just living in so much guilt during that time. I mean, it was objectively it was a good time of my life, but on the inside, I just constantly.
Yeah, it's like a conflict within you, like the two different sides of you.
Did they find out? Did the person, the cheatee tell?
Why is she looking at me like that?
Yeah,
Did she find out something?
I mean, that's why, at this point, like we were talking earlier, I steer clear of everything. I make it very clear I don't want any kind of issues because I know my past, so.
Your past is not very different than other guys' past. But what makes a guy cheat? Like, what is it that can push you? Is it just, there's so many theories out there.
So the biggest thing, and this is me going back on my previous comments, is, the reason why I cheated and we eventually broke up was because I just didn't feel validated. So and these are the thoughts that were going through my mind. Do I have a small penis? Am I terrible in bed? Am I not doing enough to pleasure her? Am I not attractive? Do I need to work out more? There's all these things going through my mind. So when all of that's happening, it just kind of spirals. And then when someone comes in and compliments you and starts flirting with you, it's just oh, okay, this is nice. I like feeling like this way.
I'm being seen.
Yeah, they're attracted to me, and they're making it very clear that if they had the opportunity, they would, all of this that someone, in my mind, didn't like, they take this package, take it over here, and then have their way with me. They ravage my body. And so I'm getting it over here, but over here I'm like, ew, I'm disgusting, what's wrong with me? I have all these issues. Over here it's just she's touching me sexually, yay.
So it is true that people cheat not because the other person is better, but because it makes them feel better about themselves.
I will say in that situation.
So Esther Perel, this was maybe, I would say about 5-6 years ago. I listened to her podcast. I was driving, and it was maybe the first time that I was listening to a therapist talking about infidelity in a light that I had not heard it before. And she's, I don't know if you've ever listened to her, but she's the type of person that is very outspoken, and she's brutally honest, and she's very knowledgeable, but she doesn't sugarcoat it for you. So she was talking about infidelity, how it has nothing to do with you. Yes, the pain for you is real if your partner cheats on you. The pain is real. But they're not cheating on you because they don't love you. They're not cheating on you because they're not attracted to you, because you're ugly, because you're lacking this or you're lacking that. It has nothing to do with you, of who you are. It has a lot to do with how they're feeling in that moment about themselves. Let's say you've been in a relationship or a marriage for 20 to 30 years, and I don't want to, go on and quote her, but when you're in a long relationship, sometimes you don't feel validated, you don't feel seen, because there's just so much that you two are doing with your lives and children and stresses and everything that you meet somebody that brings out this person that you used to be a few years ago. The energy, the excitement, all of what makes you you. There are parts of you that you have put aside due to, all your responsibilities. So that's why when people cheat, they rarely think, how would my partner feel? Very rarely. It's impossible because they're so excited about how they're feeling about themselves. That's why they start working out, looking good, because it actually gives them those feelings that you first have when you fall in love with somebody, and you actually look good, everything changes in you. So you don't want to stop that. You don't want to, that makes you fucking happy, and you don't think of the consequences, or understanding that you're really, really hurting the person you're with.
That's a good way to put it.
It's even when they apologize, it's not sincere because they really don't feel guilty for being happy.
You're 100% right. It's about, there's been multiple times where I'll have a conversation with the person I'm with, and I have no idea why they're upset or why they're feeling the way that they feel, but I don't have to understand it, I just have to be aware of it. And that was when I had cheated, the person I was with, she didn't understand why I felt the way I felt, and I tried to talk about it and explain it, but she just never really listened to it, so she didn't respond to it. So, like you said, it's 100% about, like, with the person you're with, there's gonna be a lot of times where you don't understand why they're upset or why
Yeah.
they're acting the way that they
Yeah.
do, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're aware of it and you have to fix it. Doesn't matter if you understand it.
How can you fix
Who
something you
cares?
don't understand, though?
Well, let's just say that. So I'll tell you. I'll put it this way. So when I had both times I found that I was cheating, it was because I found out through their phone.
Right.
So after that, and I've noticed stuff. I've been very clear, like, hey, look, it bothers me when you do this on your phone, and I have been cheated on twice, and that's the issue. And there was one time where the person was like, I'm just on Instagram, you shouldn't get it so uptight, I'm just looking at my phone, blah, blah, blah. And that wasn't the point. I don't care that you're on Instagram. I'm just making you aware of the issue. And still the person was like kind of jittery with their phone. They weren't listening to what I was saying. Just like play on your phone, I don't care. It just the way that they were doing it, it didn't make sense.
Like, I don't care how you feel about it.
I mean, like you said, you're never going to understand everything and why people feel that they feel, but at the end of the day, you can understand feelings and being upset or sad or hurt, and it's just responding to that the best way. Just asking, what can I do to make that better?
But in order to do that, you have to care a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to care more about the other person than yourself.
It's hard.
And we're very selfish creatures.
So these are breakups.
Because I wouldn't say that people don't care about each other, but they think, what they need is more important than what the partner needs. So they usually like, whatever, I don't know what your problem is. Like, yeah. I'm not doing anything wrong. Or I think most of the time is lack of respect than it is care. And I think I see it in relationships that people can be together and they care about each other. They're attracted and all of that, but they don't really respect each other. And I think sometimes respect is more important than love. Because when you respect the other person, it just doesn't allow you, out of respect, it doesn't allow you to do certain things that would put you at a disadvantage and would put them at a disadvantage. Love is more of a feeling, but respect is like a choice. You choose to respect your partner. So even if you find yourself attracted to somebody else or somebody's trying to attract you, when you respect your partner, you're like, I would never do that to him. I have a lot of respect for him or what he does, how he does it, how he treats me, how he loves me. Yeah, we may have issues. Yeah, we probably didn't have sex the last 2 months, but, yeah. It's not I love them or I don't love them, because people always think that you're going to love each other forever. That feeling doesn't last forever, But it also doesn't mean that the person you're going to cheat with is going to be good.
Sometimes it's just about availability.
And that's what it is. So if you're trading your happiness, your long-term happiness, you actually put a lot of fucking work into it. You did. You went through a lot of things to have a stable, healthy relationship. And this is somebody that is offering you glimpses of the unknown. And it's just the mystery of what could it be. It's sex. We didn't reinvent it. Everybody does sex the same way. It feels different with certain people because of what you feel and how compatible you are with them. So yes, sex could be great with somebody else because, as I said before, you're bored. You don't have that same passion, that same chemistry anymore. But
sometimes you gotta find someone that wants to dress up in furry costumes.
and not marry them. Yeah. But no, seriously, like, I mean, think about it. Like, if you see somebody right now and then you sleep with them, like, and you do this for like a week, 2, 3, would it be just as hot in the next 6 months? No, it's gonna die down, especially if you're not compatible in any other areas. If you can have a conversation with them, if you can be yourself around them, like. Sex is exciting in the beginning because you really fantasize it, like you're all in your head of what it could be, but you know nothing about the other person.
And then it gets dull. And
then yeah. Like, has it ever happened to you that you're like, oh my God, this person is so hot, and then you get to bed, you're like, oh my God, I should have watched Netflix. Like, it's just not, it's all in your head.
Another not a missionary.
Hey, missionary doesn't have to be that bad, okay?
Let me perform my
missionary can be good.
Gentlemanly duty, I guess.
Missionary can be good with the right approach.
I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just know that people do it every day, and guys maybe do it more than women. But then again, I'm a woman, so I'll say that. I have to say that.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that the only question I have left, based on what you just said, is. When you're breaking up and when you're having these conversations and these thoughts are going through your mind, you start building up this animosity. And so it makes it difficult to have a proper breakup. I mean, is there
a proper breakup?
I mean, I don't think...
Like by proper, you mean minimizing the impact?
I mean, every time it's happened, it's never been easy. It's never been good.
It's never easy. I've never had an easy breakup.
Okay, well, there was one, but I could tell that it was over the last time I saw the person. She called me on the phone and was just like, hey, look, it's over. And I was like, I mean, I figured. It was just a very short conversation, and I don't think I really talked to her again after that.
Yeah. Were you dating for a while, or was it just new?
Yeah, it was less than a couple of years.
Oh, that's a while.
It was a little while.
Yeah, phone breakups are not cool. Breaking up. So I was broken up with after being cheated on. I didn't know I was cheated on at the time. But I sensed that something was off, and the breakup was very matter of fact. Like, it felt like I was getting fired from a job. That's how the person communicated. It was like, we need to talk. Okay. I think this is not going to work out. We're just not doing good lately, so we just need to break up. And it was like...
Did you take it well? Did you cry?
No. I didn't cry because, yes, we were having issues. But the way that he brought it up, that we need to break up, I'm like, this is so sudden. And I haven't seen this side of you. I haven't seen this cold side of you.
Okay. And
so I was like, what the hell is going on? So I thought maybe he was trying to, I don't know, like try me in a way, like to poke me to see, what kind of emotions I had. That's how it felt. Like, it felt like this doesn't even make sense. Like, it's not like something you would say.
Yeah, and...
But that was the rush. That's exactly the rush that I felt. Because that week, he had plans to go see his mistress.
And here's the thing. I can kind of understand the cold approach. And I'll tell you why in just one moment. So, when I have broken up with people in the past, it's always this... I don't want to waste your time. It's not compatible for me. You're a great person, but you're just not the one for me.
Why do you guys say, I don't want to waste your time? Do you guys understand that we put time where we want to put time? But we don't put time because we don't put it for you. So if I decide to spend my time with you, it's because I have decided, even though you're not compatible with me.
And I get that, but what I'm saying is I know you're doing that and you're becoming more invested in me, but you're wasting your time. It's like you're putting money into
Tell
the
me
stock
you don't want to be with
tank.
me. Tell me you just don't want to be with me, but don't tell me I don't want to waste your time. Don't worry about my time. If you didn't want to waste my time, then you would make my time worthy.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't do a good
You
job
would
of
make
it.
my time that I'm invested worthy of investment.
Okay.
If you really cared that much about me. So that's why I don't like that.
Okay, well, I did it wrong then.
I like the honesty of I'm not into you.
Well,
I don't want to be with you any longer.
I did a terrible job breaking up then, but I would say, and I don't want to waste your time. I
I'm
don't
not saying
see your
that. I'm
problem.
just saying that I personally hate it.
Well, but I did that, and it would always lead to crying, and like, don't
Crying
leave
is
me,
okay.
I'm
Why
not-
do guys have a
listen,
hard time watching women cry?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not at all. And so, and typically when that happens, and
I'm not saying.
it would sometimes lead to me like holding the person and consoling them. And
Oh, that is the
But
worst.
and that's the problem is when people start crying, I can't just sit there and watch.
You walk away and you let them have it.
But
And most of the times, girls don't want you to be there when they're like,
Here's the thing,
losing
though. It's
it.
at my place when it happens, so they have to be the one that leaves.
oh, you broke up with them at your place?
Is that bad?
Yes, you've done it all wrong. First of all, you brought them over to your house, which is your convenience. Second,
They wanted to come over to my place.
they wanted to hang out, not to break up. But if you're planning on breaking up, tell them, why don't we go to the park for a walk?
But then it'd be obvious.
No, it wouldn't.
Okay.
Just be like, I
Strike
need a
two.
walk. I need a walk. I mean, I hope you never have to do it again. But, okay. All right. So we've done it too. And sometimes you just want to rip the Band-Aid and fuck it. You just want to get it done. You don't want to find the perfect place, the perfect time. You just want to break up. I get it. But you can't console the other person from the pain that you are causing.
I can't just walk. What can I do? Just sit there and be like, hey, get out of my apartment?
No, you say, I'm sorry. And then you kind of leave. You go to the room or bathroom and you give them.
In my own apartment, I
here's-
walk to my own room and let them cry in my living room?
Yes, because here is the thing. When girls are hurting, especially when they're dumped, if it comes as a shock, because sometimes, the shock hurts you more than actually breaking up. It's like when you never see it coming, like it's like the world is crushing in on you.
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's not like, if you see it come, if you have problems, you're like, okay, you are sad, but you have the logic of, all right, well, this was going to happen at some point because I'm aware that we're not doing good. But when out of nowhere, and usually it's from cheating, when somebody's cheating or somebody is attracted to somebody else, wants to hit somebody else, that's when that out of nowhere breakup comes to you. And in that moment, women want to cry. It doesn't mean that they need you there for support.
Okay.
They hate the fact that they cannot control the crying, that you have to see it, but it's so shocking for them that they have to let it out. And it's best that you're not there.
But here's the thing, and the reason why I brought that up is you were talking about the guy being cold. There was one time, well, no joke, we continued talking for another 3 hours.
Because she wants to get back. She wants to change her mind.
And it got to the point where finally she was just like, I gotta go to work. She went to work, came back afterwards.
She wants to work it out.
And then
she's not taking no for an
That's when I was
answer.
like stone cold. I was like, look, it's over.
It's done.
I couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
more.
the nicer you are to a woman, it doesn't
That's why I
matter.
don't know
It
if
doesn't
there's a
matter if
proper
it's a
way to
woman
break
or a
up.
man. Like, whoever does the breaking up, they can be nice. They have to be respectful, but not nice, not sweet. Because what you're showing her in that moment is that, look how much I care about you. And she's like, but if you care about me so much, why are you leaving me? And then she just wants to work it out because she just can't take it. And then the more she thinks, if she talks, and then she talks, and she talks, and you're still there, and you're still there, you still care, so there is a chance. Until she's fucking exhausted, you are beyond exhausted, because you're like, oh my God, how am I going to repeat myself 10 times? It's best to be honest and say, look, my feelings have changed. That's the best answer.
Maybe.
My feelings have changed, and once you tell somebody that, there's no hope to get back, because once your feelings are changed, then it's done.
Well, maybe, I mean, I don't know if you have any more questions, but maybe next time whenever we get together and do our podcast, we can kind of discuss, okay, you've broken up, what's next? You know, the feelings that go into it, texting your ex, getting back with your ex, going out and dating again.
The stuff that I have done.
I think we've all done it.
Well, I think, sometimes we look at relationships and all of these things that happen to us. Yes, they are awful, and people go through a lot of heartache and a lot of stress and depression and you name it. But at the end of the day, these are the experiences that make us in a way who we are, and it kind of brings like a lightness to life. Like, you can't take things so seriously, you can't take life so seriously because it's very fragile. Things can happen at any time. So you enjoy those moments, you enjoy what you had, you enjoy the experiences. And then sometimes it just happens that because you had such good experience or great sex or anything with somebody, you just run into them 3-4 years later and you end up texting them again. Not that you were in a relationship or cheating on somebody. But those are things that happen in life that you cannot prevent, what happens. But how you react to it, yeah, I'd love to talk about it.
I'll do it.
Thanks for being with us. See you soon.
Peace.